Standing amidst the ruins, Professor Sadi laughs manically at Vinci Morgan. She ridicules his conviction that power should be utilized for the protection of others. With a cruel smirk, she challenges his philosophy, claiming it is far simpler to just eliminate anything that requires safeguarding in the first place. Her heartless commands are carried out instantly nearby. A young girl wails in hopelessness over her bleeding mother while a massive crystal beast looms over them both. The creature peers down at the survivors, noting that the mother remains alive. It contemplates how to complete the task, recalling the queen's directive to slaughter the weak. The monster grins malevolently. The small girl trembles in absolute horror as the beast readies its strike. Abruptly, a sharp spear plunges through the monster's chest from behind, halting the assault immediately. The individual wielding the spear is Tutor. His eyes are wide with shock as he brings the creature down. As the monster collapses, Tutor stands motionless. Behind him are his companions Bianca, Sancho, and Piggy, but the gravity of the situation hits him hard. He begins to perspire and shake, immobilized by the epiphany that he has just taken a life. Noticing his hesitation, Bianca seizes him roughly by his collar. She yells at him to pull himself together, reminding him that the innocent girl would have perished had he not intervened. Their high-tension moment is interrupted by Sancho, who calls out with a somber expression. Piggy gazes around in terror as Sancho alerts them that they are in significant trouble. The frightening reality is unveiled. The four students, Sancho, Bianca, Tutor, and Piggy, are entirely encircled by a host of crystal monsters in the center of the chaotic war zone. Bianca shifts her focus to the terrified little girl. The child is sobbing and pleading for assistance, so Bianca softly strokes her head with a reassuring smile. She instructs the girl not to fret, boasting that the boys accompanying her are remarkably powerful. Standing alongside Sancho, Tutor, and Piggy, Bianca clutches her bow. She vows to the child that they will somehow rescue both her and her mother. The squad prepares themselves as two additional massive crystal beasts charge toward them, screaming for their deaths. Piggy quakes with fear, gripping his blade as a titanic hand reaches down to smash him. Suddenly, a vivid purple magic circle illuminates the earth. Enormous dark spikes erupt from the ground, instantly impaling the attacking monsters and shielding the students within. A star-shaped barrier has formed. As the monsters collapse, someone mocks how pathetic they were. A new individual walks composedly through the corpses. A young woman commands her small, demon-like minion, Sayer, to consume the souls of the deceased monsters. The tiny creature touches down and eagerly obeys her staff's movements, harvesting the purple energy from the fallen foes with a manic look on its face. However, the young woman reprimands the creature, pointing an accusing finger. She observes that 5 enemies perished, yet only 4 souls were gathered. She blames the creature for devouring one and threatens to banish it if it fails to cooperate. Sancho, Tutor, Bianca, and Piggy observe this peculiar scene in bewilderment. Piggy speaks up timidly, admitting he is unaware of her identity but thanking her for rescuing them. The girl twirls around with a bright smile, realizing she hasn't introduced herself yet. While casually squeezing the small creature between 2 magical circles to quiet it, she extends a hand. She grins radiantly and introduces herself as a new first-year transfer student named Camo. The group is utterly stunned to discover she is a transfer student. Before they can digest that, Camo introduces the red-haired girl beside her as Rose Morgan, explaining she is also a first-year transfer. Sancho, Tutor, Piggy, and Bianca huddle together, whispering their suspicions. They find it highly questionable that students would transfer so close to the semester's end, yet they must acknowledge these girls just saved their lives. Their hushed conversation is cut short by a sharp snap of Camo's fingers. She notes their confusion but swiftly pivots the topic, leaning in close to the boys. She mentions she has a powerful intuition that they might know the location of a specific individual. Tutor looks at her puzzled and asks who she is referring to. Camo's expression softens into a cryptic, joyful smile as she confesses she has been searching for him this entire time. Elsewhere, in a shadowy corridor littered with beaten enemies, Camo reveals the name of the person she seeks, the killer. Meanwhile, Victor is dealing with the menace in his own fashion. He grips a crystal-masked minion by the throat, squeezing firmly as the foe gasps for breath and weakly cries out for his queen. Victor gazes chillingly at the struggling enemy. His crimson eyes shimmer behind his spectacles as he stands among the corpses, lost in thought while calculating his next move. Sadi stands victoriously over the defeated professors, her crystal legion awaiting instructions. She glares down at Vinci Morgan and taunts him, asking if she should show mercy for the sake of the past before he ends up in even worse condition. Wearing a cruel, haughty smirk, she informs him that despite her suggestion, she has no intention of actually negotiating. Then Vinci Morgan, battered and sweating but still resolute, dismisses her mockery. He gnashes his teeth and declares he would prefer she just kill him rather than surrender. Sadi is charmed by his response. Her purple eye dilates with morbid joy as she smiles and agrees to fulfill his death wish immediately upon her command. The massive crystal beasts bellow and spring forward, rushing at the defenseless instructors while Sadi observes with a distorted grin. The monsters close the gap in a heartbeat, swarming toward their targets just as a titanic stone hand reaches out to snuff out Vinci Morgan's life. A massive vertical cleave of crimson energy slices through the air, bifurcating the monster with a solitary blow. The notorious criminal known as the Nighthound arrives on the field. Then Smog gazes in disbelief while Sadi's expression pivots from arrogance to sheer shock at the abrupt intrusion. The Nighthound stands before them, his red eyes shimmering menacingly behind his plague doctor mask as he glares at the antagonists. He lifts his arm and indicates to the side. He chillingly instructs the professors to flee in that direction, indicating there is a way out. Then Vinci is utterly baffled by this act of compassion. He falters, questioning why a criminal would assist them, assuming the Nighthound would be aligned with Ouroboros. Grimly, the Nighthound offers no explanation, standing quietly with his back to them as his blade glows with lethal intensity. He issues a terrifying caveat: if they do not vanish this instant, he will slaughter them all himself. The retreating professors panic, yelling that the Nighthound is a monstrous criminal just like the Ouroboros members, and urge everyone to flee. As Vinci Morgan retreats with the group, he glances back at the masked figure and spots something distinct on the Nighthound's wrist. He wonders why the Nighthound is wearing that particular bracelet. A sudden epiphany strikes him as he links the clues, wondering if it could be the very student he was considering earlier. Meanwhile, Sadi stands confronting the Nighthound. Instead of feeling fear, she appears ecstatic, proclaiming that she has finally succeeded in meeting him while blushing with warped excitement. She asks if he realizes how long she has anticipated this encounter. She presumes that he, like her, possesses an interest in the ancient era. She characterizes this era fervently as a period of warfare where might was everything and only the strongest endured, projecting her own violent dogmas onto him. She asserts that she understands his true nature entirely while standing amidst the tragic remains of a mother and child lying deceased on the earth. She remarks that she can detect the same predatory aura on him that she possesses herself. The Nighthound, however, remains remarkably detached. He gazes downward and declares that he has no desire to participate in her repulsive fantasies, stating he is not interested in the slightest. His blunt dismissal leaves Sadi feeling utterly astonished and perplexed. The Nighthound proceeds, announcing that she must suffer the consequences for the slaughter she instigated. Suddenly, he springs into the air with shimmering crimson eyes to strike. He delivers a devastating kick directly to her hip, impacting with sufficient force to fracture bone. The raw power of the strike generates a massive shockwave, splintering the stone floor beneath them. Following the heavy collision, the Nighthound stands over the defeated woman, watching the dust clear. She lies shattered on the ground, coughing up blood, her frame unable to withstand the sheer intensity of the blow. As Victor gazes down at her, he detects something unsettling. He catches a faint demonic aroma emanating from her and wonders where she acquired that peculiar, glowing orange eye. Despite her life-threatening wounds, a distorted smile crosses Sadi's face. She reaches out toward him with a trembling hand, appearing fixated rather than frightened. She claims she knew it all along, telling him that he is the only person who can make her feel genuinely exhilarated. However, her body ultimately fails her. Her eyes lose their focus and she collapses, losing consciousness on the broken stone floor. Standing above her senseless form, the killer lowers his blade and coldly concludes she is entirely insane. With the conflict temporarily concluded, Victor reaches down and seizes the hilt of a discarded weapon. He picks up the Winter Sword, Orwell, identifying it as the personal blade belonging to the late Headmaster Winston. He also retrieves a potent artifact known as the Impenetrable Holy Ring, placing it into his pocket. He reflects on how he had originally intended to acquire this object 6 months from now when he was meant to drop out. He notes the irony of obtaining such a prize so prematurely. However, as he readies himself to depart, a profound sense of dread sweeps over him. He realizes that in his former life, prior to traveling back through time, he had never heard of a crisis involving the Ouroboros. He recognizes that the timeline has shifted significantly and feels something is fundamentally wrong. Suddenly, he goes still. His eyes expand in authentic shock behind his mask. He stands in paralyzed silence, staring down at the floor. His gaze fixes upon the corpse of the man who was meant to be deceased. It is Headmaster Winston, lying in a pool of blood with a massive puncture in his chest from where he was impaled. But to Victor's dread, the headmaster has not perished. Winston's eyes suddenly burst open, shimmering with an ominous red light, with the bizarre pupil staring up at Victor with a terrifying, supernatural intensity.